Hello students, I welcome you all to this session. I am Vishali Kikan and today in this session we will be seeing the detailed silicon manufacturing process. Okay, we will be talking about the silicon shaping. Okay, so this is the basic flow diagram which represents the silicon shaping process. These are the basic process steps for the wafer preparation. First of all, we have the crystal growth. We have talked about the three techniques for the crystal growth. Okay, we have talked about the Bridgman technique, we have talked about the CZ technique and then floating zone technique. So after we have the crystal growth, then we will be doing the shaping operation. We have the wafer slicing. Okay, we will be slicing the wafers. Then we will be using the wafer lapping and the edge grinding. Then we will be performing the etching operation so that we will be having the deformation free surface. Then we will be having the polishing process. Again it will be giving me the more uniform surface with lesser and lesser deformity at the surface. Now after that we will be having the cleaning operation. Okay, so that the impurities which are present on the surface are further get removed, and then we will be having inspection and packaging. So this is the basic flow diagram for the silicon shaping. Okay, I hope you understood this flow diagram. We will be talking about all of the processes in detail. So after crystal pulling, we have already talked about the crystal pulling. We have the silicon ingot and we will be cutting it into the wafer and then we will be polishing it on one side. Okay, so this is how we will be removing the deformity present on that side. Okay, we want one side of the wafer to be perfectly defect free. So for this we require a lot of processes. We will be talking about all of them. So first of all we will be having the silicon ingot. Okay, we will be cutting the edges. I told you at the edges we will be having very large number of impurities. Okay, so these extra impurities we don't want. We want the uniform impurity distribution. So this is why we will be cutting the ends. So this is how we will be preparing the crystal ingot for the grinding. The next process is the diameter grinding. Okay, so here you can see we have grinded along the diameter. So here we have produced a flat grind. Okay, so now you can see if I have 150 mm and smaller chip, then we will be having the flat diameter grind. But when I have 200 mm and larger silicon ingot, then we will be having only a notch. We will not be grinding it, so that we will be having the difference between the two. Okay, so this is the diameter grinding will be telling me what is the exact orientation and what is the difference between the two chips. If I am having if I have to differentiate between the two, I will be seeing how many flat surfaces or notches it will be having. So we can have the primary flat, which will be the largest flat. Okay, so here you can see this will be acting as the primary flat over here. Then we have the secondary flat also. Those will be depicting the doping type, what kind of doping I am having, it is N type or P type, or it will be depicting the orientation, like if I am having the 111 orientation or 100 orientation. Based upon that we will be having various secondary flats or notches. Okay, so now after that we will be having the wafer sawing operation. This is how we will be cutting it. Now the silicon wafer is very hard and we require the diamond to cut it. So here you can see we have the saw blade, and at the end of the saw blade we have the diamond coating. So this is how our ingot would be moving, and when it is moving in this direction we will be having the cutted ingot from this cutted wafer from this ingot. So this is how we will be having our wafers from the silicon ingot. We will be sawing the ingot and we will be making the wafer, and coolant is added because in this process a lot of heat will be generated. If I am cutting it, a lot of heat, frictional heat will be generated. We have to avoid this heat so that we will be getting uniform concentration and we will be getting defect free wafers. So for that we will be supplying the coolant over here. Okay, now then we have the internal diameter sawing as well. So this is the technique for the internal diameter sawing. Okay, this is the wafer notching and laser scribing. We are doing the laser scribing mostly at the end. Okay, so we will be scribing the identification number. So whatever wafer we are having, we will be giving a particular identification number to the wafer so that we can identify the orientation, the impurity concentration and the electronic properties also after with the help of this identification number. Okay, so these are the various parameters of the silicon wafer. You can see, you can relate what are the various parameters of the silicon wafer. So if I have the wafer size in the 50 mm, so if I have the 50 mm wafer, its thickness is 279 micrometer. If I have 100 mm wafer size, its thickness will be 525. Okay, so if I am increasing the wafer size, the thickness will be increased. Okay, so now everything has disadvantages associated with it. Okay, if I am going for the production which will be giving me larger wafer size, I know when I have larger wafer size, I will be cutting out more number of ICs from it. It will be making my IC more cheap. Okay, so it will be cheaper process. Okay, but now if I am increasing the size, I will be having increased thickness. So as my thickness is increasing, my device will be made more thicker. So if I have to make the thinner and thinner devices, I will be having more costly silicon wafer production because we have lower wafer size for the lower thickness. Again, the area is, if the wafer size is small, area will be small. If I am increasing the area, the wafer size will be increasing and wafer thickness will be increasing. Again, the weight will also be increasing. So we require lesser area in our devices. We want our devices to be as compact as possible. We want our devices to be as light as possible. But how it can be happening? It can be happening only if I have lesser wafer size. If I have lesser wafer size, I will be having lesser thickness, and this is how I will be managing the area and weight. So now if I have lesser wafer size, the number of ICs manufactured from it will be lesser, and if ICs number are lesser from one wafer, this will be making our process more costly. So if I have the devices which are lighter, the devices which are smaller, so those are more costly. So okay, I hope now you understood. Now the wafer lapping operation, we have the wafer, we want it to be defect free or damage free. Whenever we are cutting, we will be having lots of damages on the surface of the wafer. We want our surface of the wafer to be defect free. We will be rough polishing it, and we will be using the conventional abrasive slurry lapping for removing the majority of the surface damage. Okay, so we will be creating a flat surface. With the wafer lapping operation, we will be using the slurry lapping. Okay, so now this is the wafer edge rounding. So this is my wafer. Here you can see this is my cutter, and here my wafer will be rotated here. Okay, so now wafer will be rotated here. Before the edge rounding, it will be having the edges like this, and after the edge rounding, I will be having edges like this. Now why it is done? Okay, we are doing the edge rounding so that when we are manufacturing the transistors or MOS devices on it, so we will be having lesser number of components at the edges. Okay, those will not be having the uniform properties. So if I have to have the uniform properties around the edges as well, so that time I require the lesser number of components at the edges. Okay, so here I should make the edges to be rounded so that I will be having the uniformity present at the edges in the component which are present at the edges as well. Now the wet etching process. Etching means to remove. Okay, so whenever I am using this word, etch means to remove. Okay, we will be removing the defects from the wafer surface. How? We will be using the 4:1:3 mixture of HNO3. HNO3 is 79% by weight in H2O. So this is the concentration of HNO3 that we are using. Then HF is 49% by weight in H2O, and we will be using the acetic acid CH3COOH. So we will be using all of these three acids in the ratio 4:1:3. So you can see H2O is also present. H2O will be diluting the HNO3 so that it will be forming 79% of HNO3. HF is diluted to the 49% again by H2O. Now we are using these three to used as in the process of wet etching. So now this is the chemical reaction. Here we have the silicon which is reacting with HNO3, and here with the HF, and here it will be forming H2SiF6. So this is how the silicon is removed, or silicon is etched out. Okay, so here we have the acetic acid also. It will be acting as the diluting agent only in this chemical reaction. So now the chemical etching of the wafer surface will be there. So here at the surface we will be having the lot of damage which are generated when we were sawing the ingot into the wafers. Okay, so when we were cutting, a lot of damages will be present on the surface. We will be putting it in the container containing all of these three acids in the given concentration, and then we will be putting it for a particular duration of time. We don't want our silicon to be etched out for a longer duration of time. If it will be etching out for a longer duration of time, it will be becoming more and more thinner. So it will not be having the desired mechanical stability. So if I want my silicon should be having the desired mechanical stability, so in that case I have to have a thicker silicon wafer. Okay, otherwise it will break down. Then we have chemomechanical polishing or chemical mechanical polishing. So here I will be using the graphite as well as the Al2O3, aluminium oxide, as the slurry, and we will be polishing our surface with the glycerine and the aluminium oxide, Al2O3, as the slurry. So we will be mixing glycerine and aluminium oxide, we will be making the slurry, and we will be polishing our wafer at the surface. So this is called the chemical mechanical polishing. We are polishing with the chemicals, that is Al2O3 and glycerin. So I hope now you understood this process. So this is how our polished wafer edge will be looking like. It is a defect free edge. You can see here we don't have any kind of zigzag type of pattern or any kind of uneven structure. So okay, this is the thing that I was telling you. If I have the larger wafer dimensions, so you can see here we have larger wafer dimensions. In the 3 mm wafer we can make 232 dies, and if I have a lower wafer dimension we can have the lesser number of chips. So you can see we have 200 mm of wafers. In that I am making only 88 dies. Oh, so okay, this is how we have the larger number of chips produced from a bigger wafer, and the bigger wafer, if the area is bigger, then we will be having the bigger wafer size, which means we have the larger thickness as well. So this is how, if I am going towards the lower thickness, I will be having the less number of wafers or the less number of chips manufactured from the given wafer, and this will be making our system more costly. After all of the processes, we have the wafer polishing. So in the wafer polishing, we will be covering the one surface with the polishing. So the surface which is on the top, we will be polishing it. So you can see here we have this this technique for making our structure or wafer completely defect free. So this is how we will be manufacturing our silicon. So these are the improving silicon wafer requirements. These are the requirements with time. You can see the wafer diameter has to increase. Okay, we are increasing with the wafer diameter. For the similar thickness, if I am taking all of the parameters to be same, weight same, thickness same, for that I am increasing the wafer diameter if I am coming from 1995 to 2004. So you can see side flatness is decreasing. So you can see here we have 0.23 and here we have 0.08 micrometer side flatness. Okay, so this is how we can have more and more flat surface. Then we can have micro roughness. You can see micro roughness has also decreased from 0.2 to to 0.1 nanometer. Okay, so then we have oxygen content. Oxygen content has also decreased. Oxygen will be acting like an impurity, so oxygen content has decreased from 24 plus minus 2 to 22 plus minus 1.5 defects per centimeter cube. Okay, then we have particles per unit area. So particles per unit area has also decreased, so it is decreased from 0.17 to 0.055. Okay, so now we have epi layer, epitaxial layer. I will be talking about the epitaxial layer in the next videos. So you can see what is epitaxial layer. It's a layer which is present on the surface of our wafer. So we have to have a thinner epitaxial layer. It will be increasing the thickness of the wafer also. So epitaxial layer should also be thinner to make our chip more thinner and thinner. So it is also decreased, you can see. So these are the references. I hope if you want the further knowledge, you will be going to these references. These are really amazing books. So I hope you liked each and everything that I discussed. If you still have any kind of doubt, you can reach out to me, or you can put the doubt in the comment, and I will be trying to resolve it as soon as possible. I hope you like this video. If you like it, you can share it with your friends, subscribe the channel, and do push the like button as well. Thank you so much.